Okay, welcome everybody to, I'm going to step right back here so you can see me, to our October Coffee With. I'm Shannon Finley. For those of you who do not know me, which is probably very few, I'm Marketing and Communications Specialist here at John Knox Village. I've been here about 5.5 years, and for the last year or so I've been doing a very similar presentation to this one for our prospective residents. And I do have a few friends in the audience just in case there's a question that I cannot answer at the very end. I believe this may be our last Coffee With for the year, but we're still trying to reschedule Elvira in Human Resources. So if that gets rescheduled for November, we will let you know, but this will most likely be the last one. If you have any suggestions for future Coffee Withs, send them to my other little friend in the back of the room, Amanda Logan. She is our wellness liaison, and she's going to start to coordinate some Coffee Withs for us. So, all right, without further ado, let's dive into it. Before I get into the nuts and bolts of the contract, I wanted to just kind of go over a little bit of the history of John Knox Village. And we are on our 51st year. We opened in 1972, and when we first opened, we were not a continuing care retirement community or a life care plan community. It was opened by Aldersgate, and it was a religious affiliated community. The residents were responsible for their own yard maintenance, maintaining their own homes. There was no dining services at the time, so we had Meals on Wheels come in and provide meals at least once a week to our residents. Then about 1978, we changed ownerships from Aldersgate to Christian Services, and that's when we became John Knox Village. And that did not last very long either, because they also had financial difficulty. So in 1980, we became an independent operator. Okay, is it just completely on screen? All right, I'm going to walk down here because I'm not going to put my reading glasses on because they're bright and green. John Knox Village sits on about 200 acres. Of those 200 acres, about 140 of them are developed. Right now, we've got 299 cottages in inventory, 142 villas, 100 apartments, and as we can, we are taking and combining some of our smaller apartments and making them a little bit larger because that's where the demand is. 49 assisted living beds, and then 150 beds over in Majestic Oaks, which is our skilled nursing facility. Okay, another great stat, there's about 600 of you residents, and I believe it's around 570 at this time, give or take a few. And then we're just under 600 employees, which I think is phenomenal that we pretty much have a 1-to-1 ratio of residents to employees. And I think at last count it was 534 on employees. And we've been debt-free since 2009. When we became debt-free in 2009, they actually did it ahead of schedule. I think it was about a year to 2 years ahead of what they had planned to do. So what is life care? According to the American Heritage Dictionary, life care is the provision of services for seniors, which includes housing, health care, and social activities. And I think we do a pretty good job of providing that here. And according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, at some point, at least 70% of people over 65 will require some form of long-term care services in their lives. And that's kind of why communities like John Knox Village were created, so that we can provide for our senior community as they age. At a continuing care retirement community, it's a place where you will have access to independent living, assisted living, as well as skilled nursing and memory care. And it's usually all on one campus, just like here at John Knox. So besides those 3 levels of care, John Knox Village also has home health services. A lot of communities do not provide home health services as part of their continuum. Okay, nuts and bolts. This is what everybody came for. When you did your research on a retirement community, I'm sure that you came across different forms of contracts. And there's typically a type A contract, which is what John Knox Village is. You have a type B contract, and then there's also a fee for service, also known as a type C contract. With a type A contract, it requires a high entry fee. You will have a stable monthly service fee, which can increase based on increases in operating costs. And that's your monthly service fee that we would increase usually annually. The monthly service fee will include residential services, amenities, and health services. The type A contract is considered all-inclusive because you have predictable future expenses regardless of what healthcare needs you may have sometime in the future. A type B contract is very similar to a type A contract in that you have an entry fee, and it's usually a little bit lower than what a type A contract entry fee is. It also includes housing, activities, and health services. And you'll pay that lower entry fee, and you'll also have your monthly service fee. However, what's different between the A and the B contract is that with a B contract, the health services are usually at a predefined amount of time. So you may have, and it's usually a couple of years on it. So it's not for the entire lifetime that you are within the community. Fee for service type C contract is the lowest entry fee of the 3 contract types. It covers all of your residential services, or some of them, and your amenities that you would have through a type A and a type B contract. However, if you need assisted living or skilled nursing, that monthly service fee will increase to cover the full market rate of those costs, where we're giving you a discount because you're part of the type A contract. So what does it cost to live in a CCRC? You all are very familiar with this, but I'm going to go over it anyway. You pay your entry fee, you pay your monthly service fee, and if you're a couple, you also have a second person fee. The entry fees are a prepayment for your care and living arrangements, and it also covers any capital expenses that we may have. So if we need to make improvements to our infrastructure or do any refurbishments anywhere, those entry fees that you paid, there's a little percentage of that that's put off into a capital expense to help cover those expenses. Your monthly service fees will cover your monthly operating expenses. And specifically, it will cover your residence, your dining account, your basic utilities, so your heat, your air, your water, your electric. It also includes your basic cable, your routine maintenance, every other week housekeeping, planned activities, scheduled transportation, 24-hour on-site security, and the use of amenities during regular service hours. It also includes chaplain, state-of-the-art auditorium, where we're in right now, complete kitchens in all residences, the washers and dryers in your cottages and your villas, the laundry rooms over at the apartments, the fitness centers, both over here in the center as well as over at Valencia's Clubhouse. If you're ever sick, it also includes tray service if it's arranged through the resident nurse, so that you don't have to come into the dining venue. You can just have the resident nurse order it and it'll be delivered to you. And then it also includes Wi-Fi in the common areas. But wait, there's more. As part of your monthly service fees, you also have access to the sports complex, which is the putting green, the bocce ball courts, the shuffleboard, the woodworking shop, the arts and crafts studios, and hopefully the arts and crafts studio will be opening pretty soon over at the Citrus building. Your heated swimming pool and whirlpool, your full-time resident services coordinator, wherever she went. She's running around planning activities. The private banquet room, the private fishing lake, And I actually saw somebody out there a week ago fishing. I was on my way in for, I think, Joe's chat, and somebody was out there fishing, and I had to get a picture. Yes. And then it also includes pest control. Now, what your monthly service fee does not include is additional meals. So if you go into our dining venues and you spend more than what is as part of your allowance, they will charge that to your monthly bill. If you need additional housekeeping, say you had a big party and the housekeepers aren't coming for another 2 weeks, you can arrange for them to come over. It also includes additional maintenance. So if you bought a piece of furniture and you need help putting it together or need something hung, maintenance can do that, but it would be an additional charge, well worth it. Personalized unscheduled transportation, and I know a lot of you utilize this. So if you're going to the airport or cruise terminal or someplace like that and you don't want to park your car for a week on end, you can arrange for transportation to do that, and there will be a mileage fee associated with it, but again, it's very well worth it because I know I don't like leaving my car at one of those places. And then another additional service would be laundry. So if you have something that's too big to fit into your washer and dryer, say your comforter or drapes, you'd like to have our laundry services do that, you can arrange for them to do that, and then they'll deliver them to you. Other additional services that are not included, home health care services, assisted living fees, and we'll go into that in a little bit. Health center services not covered by your insurance or your monthly service fee, and then memory care at Majestic Oaks. Come on. Okay, so you all qualify to live here, but just as a reminder, how do you qualify to live at John Knox Village? There's two things that we look for. One, do you medically qualify? And two, do you financially qualify? And then as part of qualifying medically, what we like to do is have your physician, or if your physician is unavailable, Martha Cullen, our nurse practitioner, do a physical exam and also look at your pertinent medical history, what prescriptions you're currently taking, and just basically let us know that you're okay to live independently. You can walk around, you can feed yourself, you can dress yourself, you can bathe yourself, you can do those normal daily activities that on your own, and you don't need an extreme amount of assistance. Financially, you needed to qualify we look at your assets, your liabilities, and any monthly income. So as part of your assets, we're going to look at cash, investments, real estate, things like that. Liabilities, we're going to look at mortgages, loans, liens, anything that you might owe to another party. And then as part of your monthly income, we'll look at your Social Security, your pension, and any investments that may have income to it to make sure that you can qualify. The general rule that we look at when we take a look at your financial form that you're turning in as part of your contract is once you've picked out your ideal unit or your ideal residence, what is the entry fee? And do you have 2 times the entry fee in net worth to be able to live there? And then do you have 2 times the current monthly service fee in monthly income? And if you meet that general criteria, we know you're good. And we do that because we want to make sure that 20, 25, 30 years down the line, and I think last year we did have a resident who celebrated their 25th or 30th anniversary here, that you're going to still be able to make your monthly service fee. So, it's true. Do you know we have 11 residents that are over 100 years old, which I find absolutely amazing. Okay, so what is the advantage of a life care plan? Well, it's predictable and you have a controlled future. And what I mean by that is we know that we're going to increase your monthly service fee on an annual basis. And on average over the last 10 years, it's been about 2.5% to 3%. So we know, again, that when you're looking at coming into the community, if that's been our average, over the course of those 10 to 15 years, you can kind of predict what it's going to be year over year. We protect you from long-term rising healthcare costs because we know that you can move into our skilled nursing facility, and we're going to give you a discounted rate when you go into our skilled nursing facility. You never have to leave the community. I know it was painful during the pandemic to kind of live behind the gates, but we all managed it. And we have social activities, we have food to take care of you, we've got health care. So realistically, everything is behind our gates. You don't have to leave the community unless you so choose to. And then another big advantage of living in a life care community like John Knox Village is you can potentially deduct your entry fee, the year that you pay it, and your monthly service fees on your taxes. Okay. Life care communities are highly regulated by the Office of Insurance Regulation. Specifically, it is Statute 651 for continuing care contracts. We are supposed to be audited every 3 to 5 years, but Miss Cynthia, my friend over here to my right, just finished an audit of 9 years, and we did pretty darn well on our audit. We did amazing on our audit. So hopefully it won't be another 9 years before the next one. They'll stay on track with the 3 to 5 years. And so what's continuing care retirement community versus a long-term care insurance policy? If you have a long-term care insurance policy, keep it, don't get rid of it. One does not replace the other. A continuing care retirement community will assume the risks should something happen to you. With a long-term care insurance policy, the insurance company assumes some of your risks. We have capped annual increases for your monthly service fees. A long-term care insurance policy may have double-digit annual increases for their premiums. We are mature operators. John Knox Village has been around for 51 years. Many continuing care retirement communities have been around just as long. A long-term care insurance company, they're kind of volatile, and there's very few out in the marketplace right now. And I think just like any other insurance company, it's going to be harder and harder to get policies. CCRCs are tax deductible, where our long-term care insurance policy may have an age-adjusted tax deduction. And then with the CCRC, you've guaranteed the access to care. So if something happens to you, we'll have a place for you over in assisted living. We'll have a place for you over at Majestic Oaks. Where with a long-term care insurance policy, there's no guarantee that you're going to be able to get into the place that you would like to be in. They may dictate where you have to go. Okay, tax implications. And I'm going to caveat this. I'm not a CPA. I flunked accounting multiple times. We're not going to talk about how many times I had to go through governmental budgeting. But you can potentially write off your entrance fee as part of, on your Schedule A as a prepaid medical expense. It would have to be in the year that you paid that entrance fee. So let's say you paid 10% this year and your 90% balance next year, you would be able to do your 10% this year, the 90% balance next year. The specific tax code is Section 213. I'll let you read that. Monthly service fee is potentially tax deductible, again, in the year that you pay it. And you would want to use the long form. You want to add anything real quick? Percentage. I'm getting to that next. Yes, it's next. So every year, she jumped the gun. Jump the gun. It's coming. We do send out a letter to all of our residents letting you know exactly how much you can potentially write off on your taxes. And in 2022, it was 23.1% of the monthly service fee and of the entrance fee. And basically what they look at is how much of your entrance fee and your monthly service fee went towards medical expenses. Cynthia over in accounting figures that out, and then they send those letters out to everybody at the first part of the year so that you know what you can potentially write off. Okay, one of the big questions we get, because we do have potential residents and residents that have vacation homes in other states, is can I get a credit for my absence for not being here? Yes, you can. As long as it's 30 consecutive days, we can give you a credit towards your monthly service fee. Do you remember what that is off the top of your head? Okay, $300 for a couple out of Village if it's 30 consecutive days. And then we can change our monthly service fee. We do have to give you a 60 days notice when we do that. Historically, John Knox Village has done that on January 1st of every year. There are continuing care retirement communities out there right now that are doing twice a year increases in their monthly service fees. We do have to, like I said, do 60 days notice. Those letters are going out this week. And I know Joe mentioned about a month ago what those increases were. Okay, so what else do we have here at John Knox Village? We have our medical professional services, and that used to be the resident nurse program, but we've changed the title to medical professionals, and they are available pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Besides the resident nurse, there's paramedics and EMTs, and I think it's absolutely phenomenal that we started utilizing their services. The team that they're building is pretty good. Over at Oak Park Services, we have our doctors and nurse practitioners clinic. Martha's been here, and I always get this wrong, 9 years? A little over 9 years, and I know a lot of our residents utilize her for their primary care physician, and she will refer out for a specialist. We also have our wellness liaison, yay, Amanda, and she will help with all kinds of social services and anything that you could potentially need. I know as you know, life changes happen, and you have questions and you don't know who to ask, talk to Amanda. She can find the services for you. And it's a nice thing that we've added this last year, and I know a lot of residents have started to call upon her. We also have the pharmacy, full service pharmacy for prescriptions. Did you know that they also have over-the-counters? In fact, they have access, I'm going to get a little pitch to Mitch, more than 31,000 over-the-counter products that they have access to, and if they don't have it on site, they can get it for you within 24 hours. For either pickup or delivery to you. We're also working on a portal page that can potentially order your over-the-counter products so that you can just order it and have it delivered. Over at Oak Park, we also have outpatient therapy, occupational, physical, and speech therapy. And then there's a community room over there, so if you haven't used it for a meeting, it's a great little space that's nice and quiet. As part of the group over there, and they are not employed by John Knox Village, but they do rotate through on a regular basis. We have a podiatrist, a hearing aid specialist, and psychiatry. Okay, when you first moved in and you signed your contract, one of the lovely forms that you signed was the additional services, and we kind of touched on that a little bit, and that is that you will have to pay a little bit extra for assisted living, home health, and memory care, because they are not included in your monthly service fees. And you also signed that you're going to have Medicare coverage, and this is the most important thing. So should you have to go to Majestic Oaks for a short-term stay, your Medicare should pay for that, and it must be a qualified hospital stay in order for Medicare to pick up. Medicare should cover at 100% the first 20 days of that care, and then That could be if you have 20 days over at Majestic Oaks, or if it's 20 days at another rehab facility. Why would you want to go to another rehab facility? I don't know. I would want to do it all at Majestic Oaks because they're pretty fabulous. So it's just 20 days. If you qualify to stay longer, Medicare will cover everything but a daily copay. And currently the rate is $200 per day, and that starts on day 21 and it maxes out at day 100. The rest is billed to private insurance or your supplemental. Not all supplementals will cover that, so you may have to private pay. But Medicare will cover 100% for the first 20 days, and then there's that copay for days 21 through 100. Okay, so we've covered independent living. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about home health services. And not all communities have home health services. And what we have is home health can assist with personal care, assistance with bathing, grooming, dressing, medication administration. They have certified nursing assistants, home health aides, and skilled nurses. They also have rehab services. So if you're in Majestic Oaks for a short-term stay and they discharge you home and you're not quite ready for outpatient rehab yet, home health can help with physical and occupational therapy in your home. They also can assist with personal fitness, and it's recognized by Medicare and potentially your long-term care insurance policy. So as long as you have a physician prescription for home health services, Medicare would potentially cover it. If you do not have a physician prescription for home health, it would be private pay. I would suggest if you have any questions, and I know Nicole did a talk a couple months ago on home health, and it's still out on our YouTube channel, give them a call and they can go over insurance questions that you might have, private pay, Medicare, and the full gamut of the things that they offer. Okay. Next, we're going to go into a little bit of detail, a few suites, because I know these are the big questions that everybody has, is assisted living and skilled nursing. So at assisted living, it is all-inclusive. It is a separate contract from your life care plan contract. And that includes 3 meals a day, assistance with daily living, so your bathing, your dressing, your ambulation, your medication administration. It also includes all of your utilities and your life enrichment programs, so things that to keep you social and keep your mind active. Assisted living has both single apartment studios or 1 bedrooms. This is an example of the cost for a single person living in a studio apartment. And I went ahead and threw up the diagram up there. Found that the other day. For a single person living in a studio apartment over an assisted living, your assisted living monthly service fee currently, this is the 2023 rate, is $2,218. On top of that, we add a surcharge, which includes your meals, your snacks, and your laundry, and any other things that you may need for assisted living. So your estimated cost is about $5,020 per month for a single person living in a studio. If a single person goes into a 1-bedroom suite, again, that's kind of what it looks like, the monthly service fee is $3,363, and then we add on that same surcharge of $2,802, which again includes your meals, your laundry, any assisted living assistance, and your total would be $6,165. For a couple, and this is a couple where both of you move over to assisted living, you would have that same, and we would put you in the 1-bedroom apartment. So you would have that assisted living monthly fee of $3,363. You would have a second person fee of $1,317. Again, that's the current 2023 second person rate. And the surcharge for meals, snacks, and laundry, the same $2,802. You'll pay $2,802 for the first person, $2,802 for the second person. So your total for a couple living in a one-bedroom apartment in assisted living would be $10,284. Okay. This is an example of a couple where one person stays in their cottage and the second person moves over to assisted living. And for example purposes on everything, I've used a Magnolia because it's kind of the middle of the road for our monthly service fees. So assuming that one person moves into a studio, you have your assisted living rate of $22.18. You have your meal surcharge of $28.02. So the person in assisted living is paying that $50.20. And then you still have that one person over in the Magnolia Cottage paying that first person rate of $27.63. So the total monthly for somebody living in the cottage and somebody living in assisted living would be $77.83. Okay. Next is Majestic Oaks. And Majestic Oaks has both private rooms and semi-private rooms. The semi-private rooms are basically individual rooms and the bathroom in the middle, and that kind of helps the clinical care staff kind of keep an eye on both rooms at the same time. Majestic Oaks has 3 neighborhoods: the rehab center, the healthcare center or skilled nursing, and memory care. We are Gold Seal from the Joint Commission, which is pretty important. Joint Commission goes through and surveys both hospitals and healthcare facilities like skilled nursing to make sure we're doing the right quality care measures. And then we also, for the last 2 years, have been designated as a best nursing home by Newsweek. I know we've been touting this a lot. It's kind of important too. We're number 2 in the state of Florida, number 2 tied nationwide. And then within the state of Florida, we are the top continuing care retirement community. The group in the number 1 spot is just an independent skilled nursing facility. Does anybody have a subscription to Newsweek? If not, keep an eye out for it. We just did an interview about 2 or 3 weeks ago with Newsweek for an upcoming article, and they were interested on all of the things that we did to maintain that spot 2 years in a row, and some of the quality care measures that we did during COVID, because it was pretty fantastic what the staff over there was able to achieve to make sure that we maintained our high standards during the pandemic. So I can't wait to read the article. Nicole Vega was interviewed, and she did a fantastic job. Okay, if you were to go into a skilled nursing facility like Majestic Oaks, and it's not part of a life care plan, on average, according to Genworth, and this is a survey that's about 3 years old, and they have not updated their data yet, the average nursing home cost is about $113,000 a year, and I think that works out to like $9,400 something. No, that's a year. That's a year. So, take a breath. For a single person who is leaving their Magnolia Cottage and needs to go to Majestic Oaks to live in skilled nursing, you would take your monthly service fee from your Magnolia Cottage and move it over to Majestic Oaks. You're still going to pay that monthly service fee. On top of that, we're going to add 2 additional medical meals, daily laundry, when you move over there, and that's currently $1,920, because remember, you have 1 meal as part of your current monthly service fee, so we're just adding on 2 additional meals. So your total monthly cost, if you move from your Magnolia Cottage over to Majestic Oaks, is $4,683. In comparison, if you were to go over there right out of the community without being part of a life care plan, that's the estimated monthly rate for somebody who would be moving in to skilled nursing in Majestic Oaks. So about $10,350. And remember, that is 2023 rates, and it is still quite a bit of a savings being part of our life care plan community. For a couple, where one person is going to stay in their Magnolia Cottage. You're going to keep that $27.63 monthly service fee for your Magnolia Cottage, and it's going to stay with that person who's living in the Magnolia Cottage. We're going to add on that $13.17 second person fee, and it's the person who's in Majestic Oaks who's paying that $13.17. I'm getting a thumbs up from Cynthia. And then again, we're going to add on your 2 additional medical meals, laundry, when you transfer over there. So that same $1,920 that we talked about with the single person. So the couple's monthly service fee is $6,000 a month. And again, in comparison, for one person moving into Majestic Oaks, if they were not part of a life care plan community, they would be paying $10,350. So that's still quite a bit of a savings for moving into John Knox Village and taking advantage of our life care plan contract. Okay, memory care. Memory care over at Majestic Oaks is either in a private or a semi-private room. It includes 3 meals a day, your nursing care similar to what you had over at assisted living. So your bathing, your dressing, your ambulation, your medication administration. It also includes life enrichment programs and then specialized validation rooms. And I don't know if anybody has been over there or not, but I think it's kind of neat the way they have little corners set up to look like a schoolroom or a wood shop, so residents can go in and just have a little bit extra stimulation. If a single person moves from their Magnolia Cottage, again, you're going to keep your monthly service fee from your Magnolia Cottage, and it's going to go with you over to Majestic Oaks. We're going to add on that same $19.20 for medical meals and daily laundry, so you've got 3 meals a day. We're also going to add on memory care services because there's a little bit extra detail that they're doing as part of memory care versus skilled nursing. So your total monthly service fee for a single person going to Majestic Oaks is now $7,983, and in comparison, currently private pay memory care is $13,650 per month. For a couple where one person stays in the cottage, again, the resident who's staying in the cottage pays the $27.63. The second person, who is the person living in Majestic Oaks, pays the $13.17. You pay your medical meals and your daily laundry, plus the memory care. So the total estimate is about $9,300, and again, private pay $13,650. So still some cost savings for a couple where one person is living over at Majestic Oaks. That is it. And I know I probably stimulated some questions. And hopefully I'll be able to answer. And I took 40 minutes today. I'm proud of myself. Normally I'm speeding right through it. Does anybody have any questions? And if I can't answer, I do have friends that I can ask.
I have a question. You said that in a type A facility, there is a cap on increases. What's our cap here?
Thank you. It is 2% over the the CPI, the Consumer Price Index.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, and according to Cynthia, it's a self-imposed cap. So no other, just us, no everybody else.
For instance, OIR doesn't specifically
Okay.
cap us.
Okay.
We just have to explain if we're over the CPI. John Knox self-imposes a 2% over the CPI.
Okay, Board of Directors, John Knox, self-imposes that cap.
That, the numbers you had for
Yes.
memory care,
Mhm.
is there other charges that are not on there that are going to be?
Potentially, yes. So if there's extra medication or extra services that you may need for memory care or for assisted living, they may appear on there. What I showed for examples is just what the typical person would have to pay.
Just the basic, but if they have extra care that they need
Correct.
above the memory care, that's the surcharge?
Correct.
Okay.
How much
Yeah.
is that memory care charge? Surcharge?
Do you remember, is it 105 per day?
For private room, it's 105 a day. For semi-private, I want to say it's 79 a day.
Currently, private pay, or private, is 105 a day in a private room, and in semi-private is right around 79. Yeah, but we can get you the exact numbers. We have them back at the office.
I'm a little confused by it, because my wife is over there in memory care, and there's a surcharge of $110 a day.
That was the 3,300. So when I go back to,
Well, there's a service fee of $3,300, and then there's an additional $100 a day surcharge.
that's your 3,300. So you're paying your monthly service fee for your current cottage. You're paying your second person fee for her over in memory care. And then we're adding on the medical meals and the laundry. The memory care portion of that $100 and whatever a day is the memory care 3,300.
Well, on my bill, I have a $3,300 bill, and I have a $3,400 bill.
What we'll want to do is have you get with Cynthia after the meeting to go over the specifics for yours.
Bill combines, so on the billing, we don't separate. Sorry. On the billing that comes for either memory care or skilled nursing, we combine whatever your either second person fee, or if you were the first person, with the medical meals. So the $1,317 plus the $1,920 would be combined, that you would see on one rate, and then you would see that memory care surcharge of the $3,300. So you see two rates, which is actually three rates combined, because the second person and the medical meals is combined as one rate.
Yeah, I split everything out to kind of show the line item where they may not be, but yeah, we'll want to make sure that you talk to accounting to clarify everything. Anybody else? Oh, okay. Well, thank you all for coming. You surprised me. I thought I'd have half as many people. So yes, we have another question.
Are all CCRCs, do they take the Oakview Suites piece, the assisted living piece, and farm it out like we have here? Does everybody do that?
It depends on how they have their contract structured.
Do we know how many other places in Florida do that?
I would need to double check that, and we are putting together a frequently asked questions list so that we can post that to the portal, and I will find out and we can include that, because I do not know that off the top of my head.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I did want to say one thing.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to encourage anybody who has a long-term care policy to keep that policy.
Absolutely.
You'll be glad you had that policy. Do not reduce it, and do not get rid of it, because you'll be very happy if you keep your long-term care policies.
Yes, thank you.
When I came here, I thought I was kind of double dipping, having this kind of care plus the long-term care. You need them both.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. When we meet with people, we encourage them, if they have it, to keep it. And then the other thing that we have been doing is, if you would like somebody to take a look at your long-term care policy to see what it covers, potentially for home health care or for Majestic Oaks, schedule an appointment with Joe Trainer. He can look at them. And then we're also getting Mike Buxton and Stan DaCosta up to speed. So there's a handful of us within the community that can take a look and make sure that various aspects of your long-term care policy will take effect if you need to go to Majestic Oaks. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody coming out and seeing me.